ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम mantra number 5, where we left last time. संप्राप्य एनं ऋषयो ज्ञानतृप्ताः संप्राप्य एनं ऋषयो ज्ञानतृप्ताः कृतात्मानो वीतरागाः प्रशान्ताः कृतात्मानो वीतरागाः प्रशान्ताः ते सर्वगं सर्वतः प्राप्य धीराः ते सर्वगं सर्वतः प्राप्य धीराः युक्तात्मनः सर्वमेवाविशन्ति युक्तात्मनः सर्वमेवाविशन्ति। This, the phalam of the knowledge. What do you get by gaining this knowledge? Or what is the freedom that we are seeking? What is the nature of mukti that is being described in the previous mantra, this mantra, as well as next two mantras? We have seen this. Who are these fellows? They say Vitaragaha Prashantaha. Vitaragaha means they are free from the holds of likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes, just they are, you can say, embellishment to them, like Abhushanani, which are there for Lord Shiva. The snakes on the body of Lord Shiva indicates those likes and dislikes. Snakes are very poisonous. When they bite, the pain is unbearable. Similarly, when the likes and dislikes, raga dvesha, are strong, they get transformed into kama and krodha. They create a vega. They create internal pressure, sometimes which is unmanageable, uncontrollable by a given human being. He or she succumbs to those pressure of kama and krodha caused by raga dveshas. So much so, even while he or she is succumbing, even while he or she is committing some papam, they know it, I'm doing improper thing, but they are helpless to themselves. What Arjuna said, Athakena prayuktoyam papam charati purusha. Anichanna vivarshnaya baladiva niyojita. Forcefully compelled to do sin. Bhagavan says, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava mahashano mahapapma vidyena mihaved. So, this raga dveshas will be there, even in the mind of wise person. Otherwise also, each of us are born with a set of likes and dislikes, and they continue to be there in the mind. But then After the knowledge, these likes and dislikes become simple preferences. Preferences for survival, preferences for doing some work. So some seva work he or she has taken up. Preferences for a given role the wise person has to play as a teacher or Gurukul Acharya or whatever he or she may be. So freedom from likes and dislikes, and therefore prashantaha. Prashantaha means, so the prashanti means one who's naturally cheerful, one who's naturally quiet. We are not talking about shanti caused by absence of thoughts. We are not talking about shanti caused by less thinking, less thoughts, less activity. That can be shanti. But when we say prashanta, one who is always cheerful, one who is always joyful, one who is always relaxed, that prashanti is caused by the strength, balam. What is that balam wise person has? That he or she is not shaken, he or she is not disturbed, he or she is not overpowered by the situation outside. The world cannot shake him. The world, situations of the life, they cannot disturb him. He can take them, even Viraktaha can take them objectively. Wise person knows they are mithya, therefore prashantaha. Such person, who are they? Kritatmanaha gnanatriptaha. Kritatmanaha means who has done or gained Brahman, or who need not do anything. Kritakarmaha, kritakrityaha. Nothing else to be done. They keep doing something because of upadhi is there. And since he wields body-mind complex, he or she has to do something. They keep doing something, but it is not out of pressure caused by self-insufficiency. It is not out of the compulsion caused by low self-esteem or unhappiness with the self. It is out of fullness, not out of insufficiency. It is out of fullness. And therefore, kritatmanaha and gnana truptaha. Gnanena truptaha. Trupti is total satisfaction. And that too, when it is gnana trupti, it is permanent satisfaction. Gnana, the satisfaction caused by knowledge. Generally, we think we get self-satisfaction caused by some gain or some loss. Raga vishaya praptihi, dvesha vishaya apraptihi. Tyaga causes a satisfaction. That is a vishaya truptihi. Or that trupti caused by some state of mind. They do some meditation and lift the mind to a given state and they have some trupti. Or a trupti caused by some experience. One can have that experiential trupti also. Experience in terms of what? Some absorbing experience. That experience which momentarily makes me forget myself, that demanding self, that dissatisfied self, and I become identified with a given experience, that is, then there is a trupti. Even simple, that looking at sunrise or sunset somewhere gives a trupti. When you see that, when you are sitting on a seashore, it gives a trupti. Because there is a momentary forgetfulness, self-forgetfulness. We are not talking of trupti, experiential trupti. Gnana truptaha is wisdom trupti. What kind of wisdom trupti? And what? Because the answer is what kind of knowledge? This knowledge is of the self, and the self is truptaha by itself, by nature, and having gained the truptaha self, there is gnana truptaha. I discover myself to be complete, and therefore, by sheer knowledge, I am truptaha. He is happy with the knowledge. Self-satisfaction caused by knowledge, gnana truptaha. This, what happens to them? Te sarvagam sarvatah prapya dhira. Sarvagam sarvatah. They prapya. They gain something which is what? Sarvagam, all pervasive, and sarvam, which is everything. They gain the self which is all pervasive, and they gain the self which is everything. How do they gain? Having gained them as having gained, become avishan. They entered as though into that self. That means they own up that self, which is all pervasive and everything. That means they discover themselves to be everything. They discover themselves to be all pervasive. That little fellow, that individual fellow, the person who was conditioned by time, space, and objectivity, that individual is no more an individual. That object, that limited fellow is all pervasive. The limited fellow is everything. That means nothing is away from me. That discovery of through the knowledge gives them truptihi. Okay? Sarvagam, sarvaprapya, sarvam, eva avishanti. Having gained Atma, they enter as though everything. Okay. What is the nature of this mukti? One. What does it mean that they discover all pervasive Atma? And that's okay. They discovered that. But then the question comes, what happens to these people after death? The one who has discovered Sarvagam Sarvatah, Sarva, all pervasive and all being self. What happens to this person when he or she dies? There is a popular belief in so many sampradayas that these Mahatmas, these Jivan Muktas, take new birth at their will for Loka Kalyana, to bless the society, to bless the humanity, or to do some specific job of seva or dharma sthapana. These people take birth. Is there a rebirth possible for Mukta Purusha? Now, when you understand this, one will understand what type of guru should be. So many shishyas I come across the world, especially these few sampradayas, keep emphasizing about guru. They have a tremendous value is given for guru. He is a mokshadata, and they respect so much, and they trust so much, and they believe so much. That's okay. But they think even the guru that who is not present, not live, can liberate the shishyas. What happens to the liberated person? Who is called liberated? Let's see that in the famous mantra, mantra number 6. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha. Sannyasa Yoga Yataya Shuddha Sattva. Sannyasa Yoga Yataya Shuddha Sattva. Te Brahmalokeshu Paranta Kale. Te Brahmalokeshu Paranta Kale. Paramruta parimuchanti sarve. Paramruta parimuchanti sarve. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Sannyasa Yogat Yataya Shuddha Sattva. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Sannyasa Yogat Yataya Shuddha Sattva. Te Brahmalokeshu Paranta Kale Paramrutah Parimuchanti Sarve. Te Brahmalokeshu Paranta Kale Paramrutah Parimuchanti Sarve. This is quite famous mantra. Those of you who have connection with this tradition and had been to Mahatmas, this is a mantra often chanted while welcoming a sannyasi. With the Purna Kumbha, when a sannyasi is welcomed, then they chant this mantra. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Sannyasa Yogadhyate Shuddha Sattva Te Brahma Lokeshu Paranta Kale Paramrutah Parimuchanti Sarve, etc. It is chanted. Please understand the meaning first of all, and then we will look at the detailed meaning of the word, this mantra. Suddha Sattvaha Yatayaha Sannyasa Yogat Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha. Those who are Shuddha Sattvaha. Shuddha Sattvaha means one who has pure mind, whose mind is free from the holes of likes and dislikes, ragadvishas. One who can manage his or her ragadvishas, Suddha Sattvaha, Sannyasa Yogat. Taking to the life of a sannyasi, or through Karma Yoga, they become Vishuddha Sattvaha. Sannyasa Yoga can be interpreted as Karma Yoga. Okay? Sannyasa Yoga means by the life of Karma Yoga, or the people who are already Shuddha Sattvaha, who are free from hold of likes and dislikes, who has some Vairagya through Sannyasa Yoga, and who are they? Yatayaha. They are Yatnashilaha. They are striving. They are always putting efforts. They are always committed to the goal. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha. Vedanta Vijnana. You can say knowledge of Vedanta, or the knowledge gained through the study of Vedanta, which is Sunishchitartha. The meaning, Artha means here is a meaning, is Sunishchitaha. They have well ascertained the meaning of the knowledge of Vedanta. Vedanta itself is knowledge. But in a way you can say Vedanta gives knowledge. The knowledge given by Vedanta is very well ascertained. What kind of ascertainment? That the ascertainment is in a sense that I am that. Okay. What is the knowledge of Vedanta? Jeev Ishwar Aikya is the knowledge of Vedanta. And when they say the Sunishchitartha, they have ascertained the meaning. That means the very well ascertained the meaning means they have owned up the vision. It is not that Vedanta says Atma and Ishvara are one. Atma is Brahman. No, I am Brahman. No, I am one with Ishvara. Aham Sarvam. That they have owned it up. That is Sunishchitartha. What happens to them? Paranta Kale. Paramrutaha Parimuchanti Sarvehe. Okay? Paramrutaha. They are Paramrutaha. Param and Amrutam means they are Param means Brahma, Amrutam means immortal. So they are not separate from the Brahman that is immortal, that is free from any kinds of limitations. And what happens to that? Parantaka. At the time of death, at the time of death of Sukshma Sharira, you have to add, I'll explain that. At the time of death of subtle body, who are they? Paramruta. They have become one with the eternal Brahman. What happens to that? Parimucyanti. They become free, totally free. Who are they? That they are the one to Brahmalokeshu, into Brahman. They become totally free. Okay. So, Shuddha Sattvaha Yatayaha Sannyasa Yogat Vedanta Vijnana Sanischitarthaha Bhavanti. And Kim Rupaha Bhavanti Paramrutaha Bhavanti. They become one with Brahman and eternal Brahman. They, Parantakale, at the time of death, into bracket, death of a subtle body, Brahmalokeshu, into Brahman, Sarve, all of them, Parimucyanti, they get released, they get, you can say, liberated, okay? Become free from, the right word is free from dukkham. They become completely free from dukkham, or you can say they become completely, totally free from any sense of limitation. They become free from self-dissatisfaction. They become free from self-discontentment. Param, Parimucyanti Sarve. Now understand. Now here, Shruti answers the question, will they come back after death? Can they take another birth? Or I would say, put it this way, do those Jivan Muktas, those liberated people or wise people, exist anymore after death? Shruti is very clear, they don't exist in any form. Okay? This particular form was there. Once that is over, it is over for good. How? We will see this. Jivan Muktaha, they are called for two reasons. There is no reason for them to come back. Okay? People come back for their own reason. They don't come back for others. They come back for their own reason. Means own karmas, own karma phalas, own desires, own sankalpas, their own sankalpas, their own desires, their own karmas bring them back to this loka. Here is a person who doesn't have any sankalpa left, who doesn't have any karmas left. We'll see how. So, there is no reason for him to come back. The individuality, listen this, who comes back? The individual comes back. That individuality gets dissolved as though right when the knowledge takes place. The very knowledge is discovery of falsehood of individuality. Knowledge falsifies the very individual. That ahankara is mithya, that is knowledge. Ahamayam kuto bhavati chinvataha aipatatyaham nija vicharanam ahaminashabhajahamaham taya surati hrutsvayam paramapurna sat. Individuality is ahankara. And knowledge is opposed to ahankara. Individuality is no more there, means ahankara is no more there. That ahankara means jivatma. Jivatma is no more there when the knowledge takes place. So there is no question of taking birth. Birth is possible only for Jivatma. Paramatma can take birth, but that is a Mayajan. Ajopi sannavya bhutanam ishvaro pisan prakritim samadhishtaya sambhavamya atma maya. That etc. Bhagavan says in the 4th chapter. Anything is born. That means there is an individual. There is a jiva. The jiva is no more there. So where is the question of rebirth? There is no question of rebirth for a wise person. Jiva alone is born. Brahman is not born. Brahman is free from birth and death because there is no other thing other than Brahman. Where is the question of being born? Anyway, that the jiva discovers that I am that Brahman which is free from birth and death. So there is no question of the jiva being born again. Jiva is dissolved. So the wise person, and who is jiva? You can say ahankara. Who is ahankara? Ahankara is parichinnaha, alpaha, kartaham, bhoktaham, ityadi rupa. The one who takes oneself to be karta bhokta, one who takes oneself to be limited, that is ahankara. Now this ahankara is falsified. If you analyze, where is this ahankara? Ahamayam kuto bhavati chinmata. If you just do chintanam, who is this aham? Who is this aham and where is this aham? Aipatatyaham, the aham false. Why? Ahankara is nothing but identification with upadhi. Sthula sukshma sharira tadatmyavan ahankara. The one sthula sukshma karana sharira abhimani ahankara. Sthula sukshma karana sharira vyatiriktaha atma. The person discovers himself to be vyatiriktaha, distinct from physio-psycho complex. And all limitations are caused by them, upadita. So that person discovers that I have no limitations. The sense of being limited, sense of being unhappy, sense of being tuchha, insignificant, that is there caused by identification with upadhi. Physio-psycho tadatma with sthula sukshma karana sharira upadhi. Now, wise person is the one who doesn't take upadhi as himself or herself. He knows I am what? Sthula sukshma karana sharira vyatirikta. Panchakoshatita. Avasthatraya sakshi ahamasmi. I am that. Since he or she knows that, cannot take himself or herself to be limited. And upadhi, they not being so, that identification with upadhi not being so, he is free from limitation. But then, as long as prarabdha is there, upadhi will continue to be so. But from his own standpoint of view, he knows I am free. But from the Vyavaharik standpoint of view, from the Upadhi standpoint of view, there is certainly big difference between the individual and Ishvara. Individual, one who knows Aham Brahman, but from the individuality standpoint, from the Upadhi standpoint of view, he is limited. Ishvara's Upadhi is total. And his Upadhi being total, he is free from any kind of limitations. Exactly like forest and the tree. You know, the forest is total, tree is individual. The difference is upaditaha, therefore differences are mithya. There is no Swarupata. There is no intrinsic difference between this person and Ishvara. For both of them are nothing but Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. They are not separate from that Brahman. And the difference is, as I said, apparent. And therefore there is freedom inside because apparent limitations. And after death also, he becomes free from upadhi. Therefore, there is no limitations and he is free for good ever. As long as the prarabdha is there, body will continue. He has to have it. Now, who is this? Let us see the mantra one by one, word by word. Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha Sannyasa Yogadhyata Shuddha Sattvaha. You see, Sannyasa Yogad Yatayaha Shuddha Sattvaha. Or Shuddha Sattvaha Sannyasa Yoga Yatayaha Sannyasa Yogad Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha Bhavanti. They are Shuddha Sattvaha because of the life of Karma Yoga. Life of Karma Yoga means commitment to Dharma and performance of all my duties with an attitude of Ishvara. Commitment to Dharma itself is not Karma Yoga. Please understand, Karma Yoga is not yoga of action. Karma Yoga is actually Buddhi Yoga. Why I say Buddhi Yoga? You have to understand certain facts. So Buddhi Yoga means when you understand those facts, the fact about Ishvara, the fact about the order of Dharma, the fact about order of Karma and Karma Phala, when this fact is ascertained and this is understood properly, then there is a cognitive change. This cognitive change brings about attitudinal change. And therefore we say Karma Yoga is a you can say yoga of attitude. Okay? So Bhagavan very clearly says, Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya. Buddhau Sharanamanicha Krupana Phalaheta. Buddhi Yukto Jahati hai Ubhay Sukrita Dushkrute. Tasmad Yoga Yujyasva. Yoga Karma Sukhaushalam, etc. And Esha Tevita Sanke Buddhi Yoge Tvimamshu. So it is purely cognitive. But your cognitive, if I say cognitive, to, as I said, you to understand certain facts. We are not imputing an attitude. We are not putting a new deliberate adhyasa. No. We are talking about certain facts. When you understand the facts, you change cognitively. And when you change cognitively, your attitudinal change also will take place. And that attitudinal change, primarily as we know, Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Prasad Buddhi is Karma Yoga. But why should I have Ishvara Arpana? Why should I have Prasad Buddhi? You have to understand Ishvara. Yeah, why I'm saying this? Generally, Ishvara is the most confused word. Is the worst confused word. When I say pen, so there is some concept. This is something like that. When I say mobile or cell phone, there is some universal acceptance or universal cognition about how the thing is. When I say Ishvara, Bhagavan, it is subjective. Muslim Bhagavan is different from Christian Bhagavan, and Christian Bhagavan is different from Jewish Bhagavan. And each individual has a different view about concept about Ishvara. But when Vedanta says Ishvara, I'm talking of certain facts about Ishvara, not simply Bhava. You have to understand Ishvara. That understanding about Ishvara brings about cognitive and thereby attitudinal change, which result into Shuddha Sattva. Antakaranam is Shuddham. Life of Dharma, life of Karma Yoga releases you from the bondage relative. There are twofold bondage. Please understand. Bandhanam is at two levels. First level bondage is bondage of raga or bondage of your own mind. Ragadvesha and bondage of restlessness cannot remain without doing so much of rajoguna that the mind keeps wandering here and there. That is one bondage, first level, relative bondage. And absolute bondage or fundamental bondage is caused by ignorance. The relative bondage partially in terms of holds of likes and dislikes, bondage caused by likes and dislikes is removed through life of karma. And the bondage of to do something, I can't but do, I have to do. And they glorify that doing sense by saying, oh, Swamiji, I'm very duty-bound person, committed to duty. My son has two children, and it's our duty to bring up those grandchildren. Please ask the son, or at least the daughter-in-law. You will know where your duty lies. Especially if she is in America. Better don't take upon yourself this much. Now Indian daughter-in-law also. But then coming back to this, that people cover up the restlessness, the pressure to do something in the name of duty. They glorify, I am a duty-bound person. No, you need not. So you should know the boundaries of your duty also. That is called Vanaprastha Ashrama. You withdraw at a time and become a Vanaprastha Ashrama. Anyway, therefore, Shuddha Sattvaha. Then, Shuddha Sattvaha Yatayaha. Yatayaha means striving. That way, Yatna Shilaha. That way, everybody is striving. Who is not striving? A person working in an office is always striving to get a promotion and get some more money. Person wanting some power is also striving. Everybody is striving. But these efforts are in which direction? Sannyasa yoga yataya. They are striving in the life of sannyasa. Meaning thereby they are committed to pursuit of knowledge. That is striving. Okay? They are pursuing knowledge. Yatnashilaha. Gnanarthe yatnashilaha. They are totally committed to gain the self-knowledge that is called sannyasa yogat yatayaha. Now, by this yoga means lifestyle here, sannyasa, lifestyle of a sannyasa. Is it enough that I take to sannyasa? Is it enough that I'll be free? If I take to sannyasa, is it enough that I'll be jivan mukta? No. Sannyasa is a threshold, is a stepping stone for pursuit of moksha. You need to gain what? Gnanam. What gnanam? Vedantartha gnanam. Okay? So the knowledge gained from Vedanta, Vedanta Vijnana is to be gained. And that is, what does it mean? Sannyasa means, so there is a vakya. Sannyasa becomes yoga. It should unite you to moksha. Sannyasa should become yoga to connect you to the teacher. who is competent enough to teach and who knows what he or she is teaching. Shrotriya as well as Brahmanishta Acharya. Therefore, there is a Vakya in Shastra. Sanyasya Shravanam Eva Kurya. Having taken to sannyasa, commit yourself to lifestyle of Shravanam, Shastra Vichara Kartavya. You have to keep studying. Thereby, you gain the knowledge. Okay? So people, there is a belief nowadays, especially in some sampradaya in Gujarat, they have a very wrong idea that you have become sadhu only for samaj seva. Means you have become a sannyasi sadhu only to serve the society. And there is a set of people here. Now there is a value. Sadhu must do seva. And they tell, Swamiji is a great sadhu. He has been doing samaj seva. And that is why he is great sadhu. You know, those who don't do seva, they are not great sadhu or good sadhus. There is a feeling. Some of the sadhus themselves say, we have become sadhu for serving the society. So, what is I agree you should. I'm not saying you should not. You should absolve yourself from not doing any seva just because you are a sannyasi. That's not I'm telling. Primary objective of sannyasa is to gain knowledge. And therefore, there is a vakya, sannyasya shravanam eva kurya. If you have taken to life of sannyasa, do only shravanam. That means sannyasa yoga, means here Vedanta Vijnana. They committed to life of sannyasa to gain the Vedanta. That means in between you have to fill up with a proper attitude, with a proper commitment. They went to a teacher. Tad Vijnanartham Gurumevavi Gacchit Samipanihi. With a proper attitude, they approached the teacher who is Shrotriya Brahmanishtaha, asked the right question, sought the Brahma Gnanam. They can approach the teacher with proper attitude, with proper respect. But the question is totally wrong, I often used to meet those days. Nowadays in India, the flights are very full. In those days, in certain season, flights used to be quite empty, no passengers. And there's a time when you get a quality time to do chintanam or do something. I always select a seat where there is nobody front, behind, and one window seat. I'll sit and do something. And after serving the passengers, with the snacks and things and having winded up everything, and there's a free time. The air hostess often used to come, at least half a dozen have come, with a very respectful approach. Swamiji, pranam. Maharaji, kahan ja rahe? Where are you going and what are you doing? And do I give you something more? Should I have a cup of tea or should you have one more plate of snacks, etc., etc.? And then quietly, after all this, with Pravvi Bhava, with proper attitude, she will say, Swamiji, do you see palms? She will give her hand to me. And then I will just wait and pause for a minute. And all of them had said one thing to me, Swamiji, I'm not getting well with my boyfriend. Will it work or should I give up? This is the wrong question, Then she cannot become Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha. If she wants to become Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha, she should ask, what is Gita, what is Brahman, what is Atma, etc. What is the link for your classes, what is your YouTube available, etc. So proper questioning. So many things. Sannyas yoga means going to a teacher who is Shrotriya Brahmanishta with proper bhava, shraddha, and proper questioning and yataya. As long as the teaching is going on, they are pratna-shilaha, putting in 100% of themselves to understand this vastu, and thereby thereafter to own up this vastu. They work to process their own unconscious or emotional issues. They work to process the doubts and errors. And they first of all work to understand, then work to eliminate doubts. And third is to own up this fact. Means processing their emotional issues, processing their unconscious, processing their habitual error, all the way yatah sannyasa yoga, and thereby Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchita, very well ascertained, means the knowledge they have gained of Vedanta, which is free from any doubts and errors. It may cause doubts, it may cause questions, and the questions, when are looked, sometimes they look to be true. Sometimes when Shankaracharya writes Purva Paksha, you feel this is Siddhanta. Then he puts them in the next paragraph. So, how can I be the cause of everything? And the standard question they have. We'll deal with that answer in the later part of it. Swamiji, if all of us are one, if you say Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Chatmani Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma Sarvatra Samadarshana, the one who is a Samadarshi, he the one who is the one what? Sarva Bhutastam Atman. He sees the self in all beings and all beings in the self, because there is only one self. You say, yes, you're right. That's what the meaning is. If that is so, when he gets liberated, how come I don't get liberated? If self is one, so if one self gets liberated, all the selves should have been liberated. All kinds of questions. When the human mind is so deceptive. One fellow is after me. He has written a thesis. The thesis is, when this jiva was born, how the jivas were born, जीव की उत्पत्ति कब और कैसे हुई. And he wants me to comment that 50-page, the very topic itself turns me off, because fellow doesn't know Shastra. Jiva is not born, it is there. Then he tells me, Swamiji, I am written this, and I have got an insight about all the jivas. So next book I am going to write, when will jiva get mukti? that also I have to edit. I say, idiot, you study Upanishad. Kapola kalpitaha. A figment of imagination of their mind. The worst thing to happen to Hindu society today is they don't want to surrender to Shastra. Nobody looks at the original Shastra. And nobody accepts that. Gurus have become pramanas. Some Guru Mahapurushas have become pramanas. So Shastra says different. To ascertain that fact and to own up Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchita. How there can be Aikya? And there is a clear knowledge. Yes, Aham Brahmasmi. I am everything. Or nothing is separate from me. The discovery is clear as daylight. And that is there. Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchita. Paramrita. What is the phalam of Vedanta Vijnanam? You become Paramrita. Param means Brahman. Amritam means limitless. You become limitless Brahman. That becoming is also figurative. You don't become. You discover yourself to be limitless Brahman, which is you. Paramritaha. They are Paramrita. In which even when I thought I am Aparamritaha, Paramrutaha, para amrutaha. But I thought myself to be what? Apara mrutaha. Apara means non-Brahman. I took myself to be an individual and not amrutaha, mrutaha. I took myself to be limited, conditioned by time, space, and objectivity, subject to birth and death. That fellow, even while he or she thinks so about himself or herself, by nature, they are paramutta. It is you. That is your intrinsic nature. And having discovered that intrinsic nature, you as though become that. Like Karna, discovering himself to be the son of a Kunti. That was his intrinsic identity. And that to take himself to be the son of a Radha and Adhirata, that was his incidental identity or identity, self-identity caused out of ignorance. When he discovers his intrinsic identity, Karna becomes that. Karna becomes Pandavaha. Though we say he became Pandavaha, but it is not becoming. He was Pandavaha, discovered himself to be Pandava. Similarly, each one of us is Paramrutaha. Even though I think I am Apara and Mrutaha, but this is what I am. And when you discover that, you as though become Paramrutaha. So, Paramrutaha Santaha, having become that as though, how do they become as though that? Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchita. They have ascertained or they have owned up the meaning of the Vedanta. Okay? Whom the knowledge gained from Vedanta is well ascertained. The knowledge of Vedanta is taken to be I, is owned up. This is me. That discovery has taken place. This Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Sannyasa Yogad. How do they go to Vedanta Vijnana? Vishuddha Sattvaha Santaha Sannyasa Yoga Yuktaha Bhavanti Sannyasa Yogad Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitartha Tasmat Paramrutaha Santaha Bhavanti. They become Paramruta because they have Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchita. They have ascertained Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchita. Why? Because of Sannyasa. They are into Sannyasa Yoga. Why? Yatayaha. And they become this. Why? Because Vishuddha Sattvaha. Sannyasa Yoga Yataya. They are striving. Just striving, but Sannyasa Yoga. They are striving to own up the knowledge. And therefore they become Paramrutaha. Paramrutaha Parimuchyanti Sarve. Okay. Paramrutaha Parimuchyanti. Become free from any kind of limitations. And where they become free from and completely free from sense of limitation, Brahmalokeshu, they resolve into Brahman. When? Paranta Kale. When ultimate Kala comes. When Moksha Kala comes. That time when it means when it is a death not only of the physical body, it is a death of subtle body as well. Okay. The subtle body is also over because it was over before. Prarabdha continued and then Prarabdha came to end. Just as the gross body dissolves into gross Panchamahabhutas, subtle body also dissolves and they become free. Therefore, there is no question of rebirth. They would never wish to be born and they don't wish also to be born. Both ways. That there's a freedom from it and they are free from it. We'll see something more about this mantra tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.